Right. So we are moving along to our third and final intervention flashpoint. This one comes from NCX, and this 2-minute presentation will dive into how NCX is using remote sensing and AI to derive habitat metrics from US forests, and why accurately quantifying natural capital values is beyond just timber, is key to sustainable ecosystems. So this is a really big, important conversation when we think about the diversity and the natural wealth that we have here across the United States, and thinking through how NCX can really bring in an innovative approach to that. So looking forward to it. We'll hear from Julia Osterman, Head of Business Development at NCX. And Julia, take it away.
Hi, great to be with you all today. Thrilled to be here to talk about how NCX is using remote sensing and AI to quantify natural capital values beyond timber. NCX is a data-driven forest carbon marketplace that connects companies to high-quality carbon credits at scale, sourced from America's largest and smallest landowners. And we all know that there's an increasing recognition that natural capital, or the values that forests provide, are critical to solving challenges like climate change, biodiversity loss, and creating a more sustainable future. But to date, it's been really hard to measure and report on those values. So how can we use machine learning and data and remote sensing to measure and report on natural capital at scale, to direct investments to this critical part of making our ecosystems more sustainable over time? Well, that's where NCX comes in. In 2018, we partnered with Microsoft's AI for Earth program to create BaseMap. This is the first ever high-resolution forest inventory map of every acre of forest in the US. It measures down to the individual tree and species level. And we're using that data to quantify the carbon in forests and to pay landowners across the US to change their management practices, and then measure and monitor that impact over time. But we're not just stopping with carbon. We're also starting to measure the habitat quality and understand how investments in carbon affect co-benefits for biodiversity. So as you see here, we're pairing those acre level measurements with ecological models to understand habitat quality for white-tailed deer and how that varies spatially across the landscape. So for the first time, companies that purchase forest carbon credits and invest in nature-based solutions can get a quantitative report, not just on the amount of carbon in the landscape and how that's changing with their investments, but also on how that impacts these other critical natural capital values like wildlife habitat quality. And so when we think about balancing these various outcomes on the landscape, ensuring that we're investing in natural capital for a more sustainable future, we're doing so in a rigorous and quantitative way, and using data to make sure that we're directing those investments for greater impact to solve the climate challenge and biodiversity challenge over time. Thank you so much.